Forum, I believe. This is the Town of Bolton Planning Board for the 8th of April, 2026. Could we have attendance, Pam?
Robert Romer,
Here?
Michael Gore,
Here.
Austin Groner,
Here.
Michael Lau.
Here.
It looks like Eric Nyland and James Barr are both absent.
Okay, have you heard from either one of them?
I have not.
Okay.
I do want to note that the first item on our agenda is a special permit that does require supermajority vote. We do partake in the Mullins rule, so if this hearing is continued, they can review the minutes and recordings from this meeting and will be able to participate in the next.
Okay, so we're clear at this point with that consideration of going ahead with the public hearing, right?
Yes, and Michael Lau, our associate member, will be sitting in as a voting planning board member for this meeting.
Okay. Do you want to read the public hearing notice?
Sure, share it as well. In accordance with Section 250.16, Limited Recreational Business District, and Section 250.23.5, Site Plan Review of the Bolton Zoning Bylaws, the Town of Bolton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 8th, 2026 at 7 p.m. via Zoom Communications regarding an application for a special permit for an accessory use and site plan review submitted by Escalante International, LLC, for the construction of 3 cottages totaling 12 rooms to be utilized for lodging purposes. The proposal will be accessory to the International Golf Club located at 159 Ballville Road. The application and plans are available for review at the Town Hall, 663 Main Street, between the hours of 9 to 2:30, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Tuesday, 9 to 4. Also on the town website at bolton.com.
Okay. Thank you very much. I do see representatives of the applicant. Do we have a presentation or further input?
Yes. Hi, I am Michelle Tuck, and I have with me Chris Tuck from Tuck and Tuck Architects. We are at 29 Old Sugar Road in Bolton. We are looking for the ability to share screen. Oh, there we go. Oh,
It should be allowed now.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Right there. Okay. All right. And we have with us Frank McPartland from Dillis and Roy. But I'm going to start off with the introduction. Let's just get the screen shared. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
All right. Okay, first, I would like to start off with a brief history of the property before I discuss the proposed 3-cottage project. For anyone who doesn't know, this golf course was created in 1899 as the Runaway Brook Golf Club. This golf course has had a lot of history in Bolton, but I will skip ahead for more than a century. You may remember under the previous ownership, the club was open year-round. The golf course was public, the facilities were open for weddings, corporate functions, and banquets, and there was also a public restaurant and a 96-bed hotel that was open to the public. During COVID, the former owners closed the course and filed for bankruptcy. After spending 2 years in bankruptcy, the course and its buildings were purchased by Escalante Golf. This golf course is regionally famous among golfers. Each of the 2 18-hole golf courses comprising the International have been newly renovated, with $40 million spent in the last 4 years between the Pines and the Oaks course renovations. This demonstrates Escalante's long-term commitment to the International. Some of the existing buildings have been demolished as they fell into disrepair during bankruptcy, including the hotel and conference center. This is now a members-only golf club, closed to the public, including the restaurant, which results in fewer cart trips down Ballville Road. There are not public banquets or events of any sort like that. And the golf club is open now for only about 7 months per year, without current plans to expand back up to a year-round facility. They have about 100 employees who live in and around our community. Now Escalante is focusing on their membership, which totals about 340 at this time, and most of their members live more than an hour away. The first 3 cottages are meant to house these members for weekends or full weeks of golf with their friends. So imagine you and your 3 best golfing friends, or your foursome, come for a weekend of golf and share a cottage. These are essentially mini hotels. The guests are welcome to eat in the restaurant or go out into Bolton for a meal. We are proposing 3 cottages in phase 1. Each cottage has 4 bedroom suites, which share a common living, dining, and kitchen wing. Out of the 3 cottages proposed tonight, you'll see we have 2 types. We have 2 attached cottages and 1 detached cottage. We'll start by pulling up the attached cottage plan. Both types of cottages have 2 bedroom suites on each side, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and everyone meets in the middle for with a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen, or a kitchenette, rather. There is a shared covered porch with an outdoor fireplace for the foursome to gather, and we are proposing 2 of these attached cottages. Here are the exterior renderings of the attached cottage plan. You'll see stone gable ends, stucco along the side walls, and simulated cedar shake roofs. The patios are covered by trellises with stone chimney and sidewalls. The landscape will be lush in keeping with the existing International's aesthetic. Okay, now on to the detached cottage plan. The difference here is that the wings are simply pulled apart. The bedroom wings have been separated from the living wing with outdoor covered patios and outdoor fireplaces between. Here are the renderings for the detached cottage. So you can see they're just pulled apart. All right, back to the site plan. These 3 cottages are situated along the existing road, which had the hotel and conference center on the western side. You can see them in black and white. And there was a parking lot on the eastern side. That's where the cottages are located. There will be a later phase 2 with cottages climbing up the hill behind. But I don't want to focus too much on the phase 2 cottages at this time because they're not part of this approval process. I did want to tell the group that they're planning 4 more cottages of these designs to follow soon, sited up the hill in the same area. We will be back to repeat this approval process for phase 2 in several months. None of these cottages go over the 300-foot buffer from Ballville Road, and Frank will discuss this more in detail. If all goes well in the approval process, we hope to apply for the building permit in the next few weeks and start construction this spring. The 3 phase 1 cottages will be built over the next 8 to 9 months, bringing them to completion before the spring season of 2027. Now I will ask Frank to describe the proposed site work.
Thank you, Michelle. My name is Frank McPartlin with Dillis and Roy, here on behalf of the applicant Escalante International. I've been involved working on this this property for several years now, kind of in the background on some of the previous improvements to the golf course itself. But now I'm glad to be here, helping them get something built and permitted. The International Club consists of 2 18-hole golf courses, a clubhouse, a members building containing a golf shop and restaurant, as well as several ancillary support structures. The property itself is located within the limited recreation business district. Recent improvements to the property include an upgrade of the on-site wastewater treatment plant and septic disposal area, reconstruction of the Oaks 18-hole golf course, as well as reconstruction of the Pines 18-hole golf course. As Michelle said, the applicant proposes to construct a total of 7 guest cottages in 2 phases. This application for special permit and site plan review is for the construction of the 2 attached cottages and 1 detached cottage that Michelle previously presented to you. In addition, there will be cart paths and fire lanes serving the sorry, I'm setting up a screen share while I'm talking, which I shouldn't do. Serving the cottages. As you can see on my screen now, we have the 3 proposed cottages. This darker gray is the cart path, and then on either side of the cart path will be a reinforced turf, capable of supporting H20 loading, which will provide fire lane access to all sides of the proposed buildings. This configuration was previously coordinated with the Bolton Fire Chief. In addition, the existing gravel driveway access from Ballville Road will be improved to pavement. This is not for member access. This is more for construction access, as well as construction access, delivery access, and to facilitate emergency vehicle access to the property. There will also be a access and delivery road coming down to the existing cart building. The proposed project is consistent with the Town of Bolton zoning bylaws for the limited business recreation district. Overnight lodging rooms are allowed at a density of 20 double occupancy rooms for every 100 acres in the parcel applying for the special permit per section 250-16.E2. Each cottage will contain 4 double occupancy rooms for a total of 12 double occupancy rooms in phase 1, along with, as Michelle said, kitchenette, bathroom, storage, and lounge spaces in a suite configuration. No vehicular parking is proposed at the cottages. The intent from the club is that members will park in the existing parking lot to the south of this, and then use the club supplied electric golf carts to access the cottages. The project has received a negative determination of applicability for the limit of work with the Town of Bolton Conservation Commission. That means that the commission has determined that the area described in the request is not an area subject to the jurisdiction under the Act or the buffer zone. In addition, just for a quick little stormwater discussion, the project is a redevelopment project per Mass DEP stormwater standards. This is being built in the vicinity of an existing parking lot. The project area also contains existing impervious area from the recently demolished guest lodge and conference center. The demolition of the existing area of impervious and the construction of the proposed cottages and associated improvements results in a reduction in peak rate and volume for the 2, 10, 25, and 100-year storm events. Additionally, given the topography of the property, all stormwater runoff is tributary to the existing drainage systems within the golf course itself, and is primarily tributary to an existing non-jurisdictional lined irrigation pond. Unless there are any questions, I'd like to walk through how we're in compliance with the special permit and site plan regulations for the project.
Any questions from the board up until this point?
Just one quick one. What's the size of the parcel? How many acres is the International?
Oh, so they have, good question. I know it's 700, I want to say it's 538 acres, this parcel in Bolton. Overall, the course is 770 acres, but that's split between, you know, all the parcels and multiple towns. But I want to say it's 538 acres.
Okay. And a double occupancy room is how is that defined again? So is each side of the cottage considered one double occupancy? No. Okay.
Um,
Austin, a double occupancy room would be one room that beds two people.
Okay. And each
yeah,
of those rooms, I think, beds four people, or was
each
there
of the cottage,
each of the sides of the cottage is considered a room, is that right?
There are 4 bedrooms in
Okay.
each cottage,
Yep.
2 on one side and 2 on the other, and each bedroom has a king size bed in it.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Got it. All right. Thank you.
Was there any
Um,
particular reason to not utilize the existing footprint of the old conference center?
I know the intent was to have the views from the cottage looking over the course. So based on the topography, this is higher than where the conference center and hotel would be.
the primary reason was the owner, Escalante, wishes for the cottages to be discreet from the golf course. They didn't want the members to see any of the buildings. They wanted to, when they're on the course, they wanted to feel they were in a beautiful park, a beautiful setting. Even though these are arguably beautiful buildings, he didn't want them to be seen. So he wanted to push them, or the owners wanted to push them farther away from the courses than the existing building was.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
I have a question about the driveway. So this is meant to be just a temporary driveway, just a construction entrance, and not to be used at the end of the project?
No, this will be permanent, but it will also be the construction access. So it's going to be a permanent kind of maintenance and delivery access, as well as provide better circulation for emergency vehicles, fire trucks, that sort of thing.
Okay, but
There,
because there's no parking here, you don't envision people, for the most part, turning in there. This is really more for
Correct. No,
employee
they'll
maintenance sort of stuff.
continue to any patrons of the club will continue to use the main entrance to the south.
Okay, and this entrance is a little bit up towards the Wilder Road side, right?
Yes. So this entrance, and I just flipped to a GIS map of the property. So the existing entrance is down, the existing main entrance is down, correct, quite a bit south of this. I want to say it's approximately 1,000 feet south of the this proposed delivery access.
Yep.
And that is up about halfway between the existing entrance and I want to say Oak Trail. But
I believe you can see it on the
Right where your
drawing.
mouse is.
Yep.
correct,
Yeah.
yeah. So this
That's it. Okay, so that's an
Is-
existing. I think right now it has a little sign out front that says construction entrance. That's the
Correct.
path? Okay.
I believe that's the right path, yeah.
And is this being paved or is it just I'm not
This
sure what it
will
is today, if it's gravel or
It's gravel currently. This will be paved with roadside swales and catch basins to collect runoff. And the runoff is all directed back into the golf course.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Did
Thank
you
you.
also say that the road had to be widened as well? Is that right for construction?
Yeah, so the gravel driveway is fairly narrow. This will be widened to 20 feet. so that it, in large part, so that it meets fire lane standards.
The fire chief told us that this will be the main access in for emergency vehicles.
Got it.
Thank you. As I said, the site is located within the limited recreation business district, which is section 250 168 of the zoning bylaw. Part 16A. It says that the district is intended to promote recreational business, to conserve and secure the public health and safety, to facilitate the adequate provision of water and water supply, aquifers and recharge areas, and to protect natural landscape conditions as well as open space for commercial use, education, recreation, and the general welfare. Special permit granting authority for the district shall be the select board unless deferred to the planning board. And uses which are municipal, rural, agricultural, conservation, and/or open space are permitted as of right, without special permit. Overnight lodging rooms are an accessory use listed in the bylaw. And this proposal is intended to promote recreational business while conserving and protecting natural and landscape conditions as well as open space for recreation. Item 16B discusses acreage. A parcel must be comprised of 80 or more contiguous acres when trail recreation is the principal use, or 120 or more contiguous acres and an average density of 6 acres or greater per hole when a primary golf course is the principal use. So as was asked, the property in Bolton is about 538 acres. The applicant owns approximately 770 acres of contiguous land in the communities of Bolton, Lancaster, and Clinton. The primary use of the property is golf course, and there is an average density across the entire property of 17 acres per hole. 16C, primary uses and structures allowed as of right, subject to site plan approval process. Item B is a primary golf course with a minimum of 18 holes and at least 5,000 yards in length, including the use of golf carts. And the primary use on this property is a golf course that meets the minimum requirement of 18 holes and a length of 5,000 yards. 16E, primary golf course accessory uses and structures. The proposed accessory use falls under function room, conference room, sale of related equipment, health clubs, changing or shower rooms, office related to the businesses of the recreation area, restaurants, and snack bars. Overnight lodging rooms are allowed at the density of 20 double occupancy rooms for every 100 acres in the parcel, applying for a special permit. We want to note that, so overnight lodging is allowed as an accessory use to the primary golf course under this section. Phase 1 of the project will include 12 double occupancy rooms. The recently demolished guest lodge and conference center consisted of 54 double occupancy rooms. And then when excluding 105 acres of land under conservation restriction, the maximum number of double occupancy rooms allowed by zoning is 93 for the property. So for this phase, we're looking for 12, and then we're allowed a maximum of 93. 16G discusses accessory uses, which we note that the overnight lodging provided by the cottages is listed as an allowed use and is incidental to and located on the same contiguous land area as the golf course primary use. 16H is requirements for special permit for accessory uses and structures. 1, structure and impermeable surfaces. Structures can occupy no more than 0.75% of the total property area. The sum of all impermeable surfaces shall not exceed 12%. And so the parcels under this application, that comprises 445.9 acres. Prior to the demolition of the guest lodge and conference center, structures occupied approximately 3.06 acres or 0.687% of the total lot area, and impervious surfaces occupied 25 acres or 5.616% of the total lot area. After the demolition of the guest lodge and conference center and the existing parking area and the construction of, and I did this for the entire two phases. So construction of the 7 guest cottages, cart paths, and access roadways. Structures will occupy 2.96 acres or 0.664% of the total lot area, and impervious surfaces occupy 24.37 acres or 5.466%. So we'll be under that requirement of 0.75% and 12%. Select board meeting. So we're proposing accessory structures, not principal structures. So item 2 doesn't apply here. The proposed cottages will not be located within 300 feet of any property boundary or town right of way. There is existing vegetation that will screen the buildings from view. I'm going to go back to here. So what this is showing, this yellow line is 300 feet off of the Ballville Road right-of-way property line. We do have this access cutting through, so I've proposed a supplemental planting of screening vegetation along the access drive to meet the requirements of section 250-16HB. Parking must be shielded from the public ways. Drainage from parking must not pollute groundwater. No single parking area shall contain more than 60 parking spaces without a separation of landscape islands, including shade trees, and visibility of parking areas shall be limited through structure placements, grading, and landscaping. But in no case shall parking areas be closer than 200 feet to a residential border or town right-of-way. Number of parking spaces will be guided by section 250-17C, and there are parking reduction. There's a method for parking reduction, and a requirement that night lighting of parking areas shall not be visible at ground level from adjacent properties. So after demolition of the parking lot that's in the vicinity of this project, there will be 302 parking spaces on the property, 38 of which that are associated with ground maintenance at the maintenance building and are excluded. So that puts the total parking space count associated with the golf course use at 264 parking spaces. Section 250-17C requires for a golf course 5 spaces per hole. So we have 36 holes, therefore 180 spaces. 1 space per employee on the largest shift, which is 32 employees, therefore an additional 32 spaces. And then 50% of spaces otherwise required for accessory use. So the 7 guest cottages between the 2 phases, those are assumed to be incidental to the use of the golf course. No one is coming to these cottages and not golfing. There's 4,428 square feet of existing restaurant space, which at 1 space per 100 square feet requires 45 spaces. 2,224 square feet of pro shop, which requires 9 spaces. And then 54% of that is 27. So per Bolton's regulations, the total required parking is 239 spaces. And if, as you recall, after I threw so many numbers at you, we're left with 264 in the existing parking areas. So we're still the golf course per regulations was significantly over parked for the current planned use. Additionally, looking at the ITE parking generation manual, that lists a maximum peak parking demand for a golf course at 6.3 spaces per hole or 227 parking spaces. So Bolton's requirement is very close to um, the parking generation manual, and again, we're still above that. Um, Section 16I discusses driveways. Um, no driveway. We're not looking to construct new driveways. We're looking to improve the existing gravel driveway. This existing entrance from Ballville Road is approximately 1,000 feet away from the existing main entrance to the facility, and will be improved to a 20-foot wide paved access to facilitate deliveries and fire apparatus access. No earth removals, no earth materials will be removed from the property. There will be no new storage of fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides associated with this special permit application. Special events. The special permit may include a provision that special events may be permitted, and these are defined as planned events with a total expected attendance of 500 or greater persons using the golf course, that may be permitted under written approval by the select board. So the applicant does request that the special permit include a provision that special events be permitted in association with the overnight lodging use. But those special events themselves, the applicant will have to go through the procedure with the town, and that requires filing with the select board 45 days in advance of any event.
Frank,
Can we
going
talk
back
about-
to your parking,
Oh, go ahead, Bob.
Oh, yes.
are you going to have pervious or impervious pavement?
So there's no new pavement proposed for the parking. The cart paths are proposed to be just standard asphalt, 8 foot wide,
Okay.
which is consistent with what's throughout the rest of the golf course.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to talk about the special events there, and Pam, maybe this is directed to you first because you brought it up in your staff memo. So presumably they have a special permit existing already for the golf course that they have to go to the select board if there's
Yes.
events at the golf course. So are we suggesting that they have a second, they have to go through some second process to also include the guest cottages?
No.
Well, hang on just one
I've
second.
looked-
I just want Pam to weigh in on that first because she brought that up in one of her memos.
There's a provision in the zoning bylaw that if they have special events greater than 500 people, that a special permit is required. That was previously granted. I think they included, don't want to speak for them, but I think they included that in their memo, so that option will continue on and it's clear in the application. But it would still be required to go for each individual event to the select board.
Sure, and this would just include the cottages as part of that, because otherwise, I mean, like when the Live tournament was there a few years back, they went to select board, and I don't know that there was any. I don't even know if the hotel was still there at that point.
So I had included this language in the application after reviewing some previous applications to the town of Bolton for the golf course. And when each one of those previous applications were basically adding something to the course, what the application asked was that, that new feature be included included in the provision that it could be part of a special event. So I personally, I don't know that it's necessary. but it looked like something that had been done in the past. Any special event application that goes before the Bolton Select Board, would spell out what's being used, what's being done on the course.
Yeah.
So
No, that I think that makes sense just to include it. I mean, I first read it, I'm like, oh, you're gonna have a rocking party of 500 people over at the new cottages. Sweet. But I can see how you'd want to include it.
Yeah, it makes no sense to run those processes in parallel. It sounded very redundant.
Thank you.
Yeah, that brought me to the end of the special permit items. And then for site plan review, hopefully that should be a little quicker. So as identified in the zoning bylaws, section 2.556, site plan approval process, information is provided to assist the planning board and board of selectmen in consideration of the following matters. So item A, protection of adjoining premises against detrimental uses by provision of surface water drainage, sound, and site buffers, generation of electrical machine interference, preservation of views, light and air. The project has been designed to minimize impacts on adjoining premises. The stormwater management report that was submitted along with this application documents that any stormwater generated by this project is basically tributary to the golf course itself, and the demolition of existing pavement and the removal of the other buildings in the area actually results in a net decrease in runoff generated by the golf course. Impacts to sight and sound will be minimized, and views of light and air will be preserved as the buildings have been set back a minimum of 300 feet from the property lines as required by the town of Bolton. There are no impacts from noise anticipated with this. This is a relatively small number of people, and there will be no external electrical machines to cause interference at this site. B, convenience and safety of vehicular and pedestrian movement within the site. The location of driveway openings in relation to traffic or to streets serving the site, and when necessary, compliance with other regulations for the handicapped minors and the elderly, including the location of pedestrian access adjacent to the site. So the applicant proposes 59 parking spaces in the vicinity of the demolished guest lodge and conference center be removed for the construction of the guest cottages. And additionally, existing gravel maintenance access from Ballville Road will be improved to pavement to facilitate deliveries and fire access to the property. The remaining parking spaces and driveways are adequate to serve the proposed project. The parking at the site meets the requirements for accessible parking. On the entire International Golf Course property, there are 9 accessible spaces, including 2 van accessible spaces out of the total of 302 parking spaces. All right. Adequacy and arrangement of parking and loading spaces in relation to the proposed use of the premises and abutting property. And adequate parking and roadway areas exist on the property at the present time. Adequacy and methods of disposal of refuse and other waste resulting from the uses permitted on the site. Solid waste generated at the cottages will be stored internal to the proposed buildings and then removed by housekeeping and placed within existing dumpsters. The proposed guest cottage use represents a reduction in flows to the existing wastewater treatment system. Relationship of structures and open space to the natural and planned landscape. Existing buildings and other community assets in the area in compliance with other requirements of the zoning bylaw, which we'd previously documented under the special permits section, and the guest cottage use is ancillary to the golf course primary use. Demands on the town resources, including effect on the town's water supply, fire protection, police enforcement, and highway department. No significant increase in demand is anticipated on town resources, such as police enforcement and highway department, through the construction of the guest cottages themselves. We have reviewed the guest cottages construction and layout with the Bolton Fire Chief, and he is on board with our plan to have each one of them individually sprinkled through the existing fire suppression system that's located on the golf course property. Each building will be equipped with a strobe so that in the event that there's a fire emergency, the fire department, when they pull in, will know at which unit the problem is occurring. There's also a kind of a fire apparatus pull-off proposed adjacent to the cart barn that will allow kind of them to have a command and control location adjacent to the proposed fire control room in the cart barn. Location, size, lighting, and appearance of all site signage. No additional site signage is proposed for the project other than some internal wayfinding, just to direct people in their golf carts to the cottages themselves. Limited lighting is proposed at the golf cart parking areas and along cart paths serving the guest cottages. No traffic lights are proposed, anything like that, and no additional fencing proposed in association with this use. Lighting will consist of bollard lights, spaced approximately every 50 feet along the cart paths serving the cottages, as well as four 16-foot tall pole-mounted lights provided at the intersections between the cart paths. So two here, one down here, one here, and then two here where the cart paths intersect the access road. Life safety equipment is proposed. Oh, I'm sorry for this lighting will be night sky compliant with full cutoffs. Life safety equipment is provided at the golf course. The majority of the golf course staff is CPR certified, and there are advanced medical kits provided on the site. Staff members on the course and within all buildings have radio access in case of emergency, and the International has purchased a defibrillator, and staff members have been trained on the use of that equipment. So that covers my review of the kind of the highlights of the special permit application and the site plan review requirements from the town of Bolton zoning.
Thank you, Frank. Pam, do you want to talk a little bit about where we're going with site review and peer review?
Sure. At the March 25th meeting, the planning board approved a scope of work for a peer review consultant to review the drainage system that was submitted by the applicant as part of the application. A check was received from Escalante and deposited into a 53G account, and the signed contract was forwarded to Horsley Witten on April 1st. They have not completed their review as of yet, so the stormwater system and the drainage calculations are still being reviewed by them, and we're awaiting comments. We hope to have them by next week. I do have a draft of a memo. I haven't distributed it to the applicant yet, but I'm happy to go over some of the comments that exist from that memo. Nothing outlandish. They're very minor in nature. I think the applicant did a great job of preparing the application and submitting information to us. I'm happy to go over that. It is just in draft form, and there is some additional details that have to be incorporated. And I was also hoping to schedule a site visit with the applicant to review existing conditions.
How quickly can that be done? I guess that's a two-part question for you and the applicant.
I didn't know if the planning board wanted to visit the site as well, and we can do a joint visit, or I am happy to do that independently, and I'm available whenever.
I'm certainly curious, but I don't want to hold up the whole process, coordinating schedules. Other members of the board?
I mean, if I'm available, I'd certainly wouldn't mind
Yeah,
taking
that's
a
where
look.
I
But
stand.
but yeah, I'd say, you know, we leave it up to Pam, and if you can coordinate a time, and if what works for you and the applicant, and if members of the
Right.
board can make it, then so be it.
So if you can let us know, we'll try to be there.
Okay, I will do that. Um,
And yeah, we have no issue with setting up a site visit, Pam.
just this is a memo that I have in draft form just to review it at a high level. Mike mentioned the special permit conditions, and Frank, you confirmed that that's in agreement with my comments that we would approve a special permit subject to each individual event being reviewed by the select board and other boards as is relevant based on the details of those events. I asked for additional information on how the cottage units will be rented, what time of year they'll be available, and if they will be available strictly to members or members, family members, and if there's a maximum or minimum amount of length of stay that they can rent the cottages for. I asked for additional spec sheets on the lighting. I know that you included details on the heights, but it'd be nice to have a detail of those lighting so we can see what the aesthetics of those are. And I asked for a landscaping table to include the quantity, species, and size of the plantings that are proposed on the property. I was unclear, and maybe the consultant has pulled this information from your drainage calculations, but how the drainage system connects into the existing system and where it outflows, and what the condition of that system is. I couldn't locate information on where it's being discharged. I asked for clarification on that, and that the components all be incorporated into a maintenance and operation plan. And I also requested that the maintenance and operation plan incorporate the grass swales, since they will be part of the drainage system that lead into the catch basins. There's a construction entrance noted on the detail sheet, but it's not located on the plans. And I understand that may move as construction is phased in, particularly with the driveway, but I asked that that location be included on the plans. The detail for the erosion control barrier has the wattles on the downslope of the silt fence. We typically require them upslope, so I requested that be rectified on the detail. And just a notation that will require SWIPs. Reporting after qualifying events. And I just wanted to note and make sure it was clear to the board that phase 2 was incorporated into your drainage calculations, and the peer review consultant is reviewing that as part of this drainage review, even though it is the construction of those cottages will not be part of this approval. It would prevent us from having it reviewed when you come back for phase 2, knowing that it's been reviewed and commented on by Horsley Witten.
Thank you, Pam.
And that was
Yeah,
it.
Pam, up above, did you want to see their calculations about the square footage and all that?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry, I must have missed that one. I know that you provided building structure coverage calculations as well as impervious area calculations, but I requested a table to break that down, particularly for the building coverage. If you could provide a table incorporating the existing structures on site and their square footage of coverage, so we can see exactly how that percentage was calculated.
Yeah, that'll help the board in this decision and any future ones, because I couldn't find any kind of definitive table in my previous research. So
Any other questions or input, either from the board or the applicant?
I have a few questions.
Okay,
For the fire protection system, I'm assuming the existing conference center might have had something similar, but there is, I don't know where the source of water is, but it seems like there's like a 20-foot elevation increase to the top corner of the site. In your reviews with the fire department, did they request a certain pressure? Is there any risk of needing increased water for that need?
no, there's I don't remember if the fire chief said any specific pressure, but there is sufficient pressure on the property. The existing fire service right now comes up to the cart barn, so we're not creating a situation where we're drastically changing the amount of head on the system.
The plans mentioned dewatering. Are you expecting significant dewatering operations?
No, not really, no. But I always include it on my plans for the event that we run into it. I'd rather have it and not need it.
The access road that is parallel to Ballville Road, that is within the 300-foot disturbance limit, or not disturbance limit, building setback limit, I guess is you're calling it.
Yes.
Is there a reason it's parallel to the road? Just noting that it's like it's going to affect the screening and the view of the road much more so than the one that's perpendicular.
So that was added to give in large part to give the fire department a loop there. They'll be pulling in to this from Ballville Road up the access, and then I'm going to share again. 1 second. So the fire chief asked for kind of a command and control location to be established in this area, and he wanted to be able to pull in off Ballville Road, come down, and then park in here. This would also facilitate deliveries to the cart barn and other maintenance buildings on site. So that was the intent with this. You can't really so we do have compensatory plantings proposed along this to grow back in after the road is constructed and the vegetation is reestablished.
Is there would you be opposed to adding limits of disturbance language to the plans?
What are you thinking?
Well, you have the tree line shown, but I don't
Yep.
see anything that says limits of disturbance.
Oh no! I see what you mean. Yeah. So no, we can I can better define the limit of disturbance on the plans and have that kind of staked out so that the contractor doesn't clear more than what's been approved.
I mean, for it's worth from, in my opinion, I know that if the fire department asks for it, obviously that might take precedence, but if the facility doesn't necessarily need that road perpendicular to Ballville, I think it's better screening just to leave it native. It seems like there's a loop going out the bottom left of the site too, where you wouldn't necessarily need it as a loop. Unless I don't know if it doesn't seem like the facility's asking for it, right? You guys aren't wanting that. It was something from the fire department.
It was a larger discussion, facilities based, deliveries based, and maintenance, but also the fire department essentially required it. They did not want to loop through the rest of the property. They wanted to be able to get in right at the north and then come right to the cart barn for that central command station. So he said, excuse me, the fire chief said in no, there would be no circumstance that he would go through the main entrance. There are too many roads there to get up to the locations where people might be sleeping. He wanted to come right in off of Ballville to get right there. He actually indicated that given that the cart barn will be a central command location for the current entire property, that no matter where the emergency is, he'll come to the cart barn first through that access road.
And I don't know.
And topographically, if the fire apparatus coming in here straight, turning, and then having to make a fire truck wouldn't be able to make this turn back up to here. It's a very tight radius with an elevation gradient coming up to the cart barn. So it's a tight turn going uphill. So they wouldn't be able to do that. In order for them to get up to here, they would either have to use this fire access or ideally have this one that gets them to the command and control location without having to potentially go by to not be able to access that due to a building being on fire.
And the 300-foot setback that you were citing, I don't know, Pam, I don't know if we've reviewed that or whatever in the memo, but it's just for the building setback. It's not for any other item.
You're muted, Pam.
I can give you the exact wording.
Yeah, I just found it too, Pam, but go ahead.
Sorry, I opened the plans and now I'm frozen. Here we go.
Well, Frank,
while
if
you-
you have it.
I have one question while you guys are finding that. So like the defined parking, I always feel like in planning, we always over prescribe or over specify the parking required. Do you feel like you ever max out your parking lot, or could you do with less parking spots?
Frank, do you want me to take that one?
Yeah, please, Michelle. I
Yeah.
can speak to that. We have, we had too much, and now we have slightly more than what Bolton says that we need. But please, Michelle.
Yeah, so the Escalante tells us that they in the normal 7 months of operation, they do not see the parking lots full. In their opinion, they probably could remove another one, but we know by the numbers that that's not permitted to take a whole other one out. But it was easy for them to lose the 59 parking spots here. This lot has been closed to use for some period of time anyway. Yeah, that's a great point. We know that by the law, we need most of the parking. I think we have 25 extra spots from
Yeah.
Frank's calculation. But given that the rest of the parking lots are much farther south and outside of this project area, we will not be focusing on those for this project.
Yeah. Yeah, just in general, I think parking wise, as a town, we probably need to, I always feel like it needs to be more dynamic to the use and not like defined in the bylaws as much, is my
Yeah.
thought, but
I agree.
I agree as well. I've had situations where if you went by the letter of the bylaw, this was in another town, um, we would have needed, we had a use that probably needed 100 spaces per what the client was telling us. And per the bylaw, it was almost 600 was going to be
Yeah.
required. So,
I mean,
so
yeah,
it's,
as a goal, the less impervious you have to, and less trees you have to remove and stuff, the better. So, like,
agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
All
my
right.
point about pervious pavement.
Yeah. Okay, I've stalled for you, Pam.
Oh, okay. It just states no structure shall be located within 300 feet of any property boundary or town right of way and shall be either naturally wooded or visually screened using densely planted evergreen trees large enough to reach 5 feet in height in 3 years. So it does satisfy the bylaw requirements.
And 4 is Ballville. Ballville's not a scenic road, correct? I don't think.
I can check that. I'm not sure.
I'm looking at the thing now. It says.
Oh, is it on the list?
Mike, I'm what is your concern that they're gonna, like, I don't think they're gonna, if someone could put that diagram up of the layout, like, I don't think they're cutting down the trees between the fire access road and Ballville, are they?
Right. No.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
No, so if
was
So
my,
that's very wooded at the moment, right? The in the spot in between there, in between that the phase 1 delivery access and the phase 1 paths, that's all wooded at the moment, but that becomes right in the center there, that becomes phase 2 eventually. But
Down here. Yeah.
yeah, but so guys, just to reiterate, on the right side of the fire access road, right there, keep going to the right. So in between that road and Ballville, all those trees stay, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they're adding the screening trees too. I just wasn't sure the language of that road when it goes parallel is within the 300 feet. The screening
Oh,
trees
I see
seem
what you're
to
saying.
meet the requirement. The only other thing I would note is that there is a really minimal rock wall along the road. If it was a scenic road.
Yeah, we're not doing anything along the road other than just the access.
at the existing access and
Existing location, so. we
Well,
wouldn't be
if you want
affecting
to, if you want to widen the existing entrance there, that may need a scenic tree hearing, I guess, is what Mike is saying.
Yeah.
It is on the scenic road list, yeah.
Try to avoid any surprises. I'm good. That's all the questions I had.
Okay, so we've concluded that it's appropriately screened now, and with additional screening of that loop, we're in compliance with the bylaw.
I think so.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else from anybody, either the applicants or the board?
I think the conceptual drawings of the buildings look great.
Yep,
Nice work on that.
classic tuck and tuck. Okay, I believe we will have to have a continuation on this until we get.
Before you do that, is there any members of the public? I wouldn't want to discuss a continuation before the public had a chance to speak, if there were any.
Apparently not, but
Good,
thanks
all
for
right.
reminding me.
I'll take it.
So before we talk about that, I think, Bob, we do need to figure out when our next meeting is. Because the 22nd is school break week, so I'm may or may not be for that. So I don't know. Pam, did we want to talk about moving to the 29th for that meeting?
Yeah, I
or-
wanted to gauge the board's availability because it's school vacation week and I wasn't sure if people would be able to attend.
Okay, I'm available on the 22nd and the 29th.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm available the 22nd. I'm not available the 29th.
Mike
I
Lau?
can, I can probably make it on the 22nd. I would need to check, but I can probably
I'm
make
good
it.
on either date.
Okay, so in the interest of expediting this process, can I suggest we do meet on the 22nd?
Pam, are you okay with that?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
In that case, on behalf of the applicant, I'd like to ask for a continuance to the April 22nd planning board hearing.
I will make a motion to continue the hearing for 115, hang on,
159 Ballville Road.
159 Ballville Road until April 22nd.
Second.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
I
and Michael Lau.
Aye.
The public hearings continue till April 22nd at 7 p.m.
Thank you very much, Pam. We'll be in touch to schedule that site walk.
Okay,
And-
thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Thanks, Tux.
Good night.
Appreciate your time.
Guys, thanks very
Thank you.
much. Have a nice night.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 2, the recommendation for Moderator Way. Pam, you want to summarize what's needed and when that's going to happen?
Sure. Randy and I did an inspection earlier this week, and all the meets and bounds have been installed satisfactorily. The catch basins have all been cleaned. The stormwater system still has to have tree and vegetation removal conducted, but they were still quite full of water. So the contractor has not been able to get in there and clear them out. It would probably cause more of a mess if he did it at this time of year. So he's going to wait for them to dry out a little bit, and then he'll go in and do the tree removal, and he still has to camera the drainage lines. We did identify a few catch basins that need some mortar and brick repair. We feel there's sufficient funds in there, approximately $52,000 is allocated and contracted with for services, and then we have another 18 available to do the remaining items. So if the camera inspections all go well, we should have sufficient funds to complete all the remaining items to bring it up to subdivision standards.
I know it's speculation, but what was his feeling about when they may be able to clean things out and complete it?
It's weather dependent, but the
Yeah.
ponds were one pond wasn't full. Two of them still had a significant amount of water in them, so it would be better. It's more cost efficient for him to go out there and do all three. So probably weather dependent, probably another month. It's just really wet right now with all the snow melt and cold weather we've had.
Okay, but for recommendation, approval by the select board and approval at town meeting, does that preclude that from occurring if it doesn't get done prior to town meeting?
No, it's really, they're not dependent on each other. And since if we didn't already own the roadways, I wouldn't recommend the board support accepting the street, but because we already own the roadways, it doesn't really matter the scheduling of events and when they occur. So I say we just accept it at this town meeting and we'll proceed with work. It may be done prior to town meeting, but I'm not absolutely sure that it will be.
Okay, so the next step would be us voting to make a recommendation to the select board and the select board making a decision to go ahead and approve it for the town meeting, right? It's on the
Yes.
warrant now.
It's on the warrant, yes. So they would make a recommendation to support it.
So our next step is a roll call vote, right?
Yes, I
recommendation.
would recommend that that you support the street acceptance of Moderator Way, just noting the conditions of the remaining items that need to be completed.
Do we want to put that condition on? I mean, that almost makes it sound like we need them to be finished before.
Yeah, that's what concerns me.
Okay, yeah, we don't need to. I just,
Yeah, I mean,
the town administrator asked for a status report, so I was just going to incorporate that into your vote, but I can relay those separately.
but the bottom line is that we know what the problem is and we have the money to pay for it and we've signed a contract, right?
Correct.
So I feel fairly confident that we can go ahead.
I will make a motion to approve the street acceptance for Moderator Way.
Second,
Robert Romer,
aye.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
and Austin Groner.
I
Okay, agenda item 3, our meeting with the folks from Century Mill. A little bit of background on this. As you probably know, there have been multiple meetings, formal meetings and individual meetings between select board and select board members and representatives of Century Mill. Basically, the gauntlet was put down that further conversations wouldn't occur until a representative group came together and could say with a reasonable degree of certainty that they actually represented all the homeowners at Century Mill. And indeed, they did. We did have a meeting with 5 of them. Pam and Kate were there. And basically went over the current situation. The main sticking point, as we all know, other than the condition of everything, is the issue of liability and being able to indemnify the town for any failure that is either occurs by the town or occurs as a result of the failure of the public water supply system. I believe they understood what we were talking about. They, sort of passed it off as, hey, this is the normal thing with any utility. Well, yeah, that's any utility like National Grid that has a little bit more funds than the current developer. And so they agreed to go back and rethink and come up with a proposal to look at how that indemnification would occur and the necessary finances behind it that the town could depend certainly on in order to agree with that level of indemnification. We pointed out that it's not just indemnification because we didn't know accurately where the individual water lines are, but were a water line to fail, regardless of where it is, and it affected the town taking the road, then the whoever at that point owned the public water supply would be on the hook to indemnify the town for consequential damages to the road and vice versa. Were the town to be working on the road, and because the town doesn't know exactly, although they have a reasonable degree of where it might be, where the water supply is, the water piping is, whether on the road or beside it in the town taking, that the public water supply, would be responsible for that as well, even though had it occurred with town equipment under town supervision, that we didn't know enough. And frankly, my feeling is, regardless of whether we know enough, that would be required. So they, I think, went away not happy, but understanding the implications of that. Part 2 was the concern that the last site visit and the result of that Randy Haglund came up through the DPW was 2.5 years ago. And inevitably, there has been degradation since then. So that we agreed that Randy and others, I would like to be included, anybody else who would like to join us, and Pam would walk through the development and reevaluate where things stand now, and whether that estimate was really legitimate. Now, Mike had asked and has been asked before that about exactly how they would go about dealing with the estimate that had been put together the last time based on Randy's review. They didn't, other than frankly express concern that it was too high. There was no feedback beyond that, and that's something that would need to be pursued simultaneously. So 3 parts to this: indemnification, liability on the part of the town and how that would be mitigated, where things have gone since the last time it was inspected, and what the cost of that would be and how they would deal with it. So it's, I would characterize it as a very preliminary discussion, but I think it was finally good, if they're correct, and I hope they are, that they truly represented all 47 homes, that we can make a little bit of movement on this. So that's where we are.
Were they planning to hire somebody like a construction consultant?
Well, that's an
They didn't-
interesting.
They didn't say.
No, they didn't say, but one of the people who was there was one of the owners of GCV Construction. And they are a very significant subsurface utility contractor. So I would guess that they will figure that out.
I mean, because this was the problem before, is, we gave them the DPW report.
And they
Again,
didn't
let's
get
set the-
back. Right.
Yeah, let's set the niche estimate aside. Let's not even talk about that ever again. But the DPW report, they claim to have problems with that. And presumably, when you guys do another walkthrough, you're going to find the same things and worse.
And
So,
and I think they have to take that into consideration.
okay.
Chris Valente, who was there by Zoom, he was sick, but he attended by Zoom, is a very, very knowledgeable, varied utility contractor. And they, my guess is that they have the resources within their organization to do all of that. But let's see how it goes.
What was the latest with the developer on that property? Did they just sail off into the sunset, or are they being taken to land court? What's the status on that?
He has
Go ahead, Pam.
abandoned the development of the subdivision, but still owns the public water supply. And I believe a group of residents within CME are in litigation with him to take ownership of that water supply system.
I see. And what does that change if they do take ownership of it?
They'd have control over how the water supply operates and is managed, as well as any sort of capital financing to maintain and repair the water system.
It wouldn't change anything for the town, though, because the
No.
town will never
No.
own or operate that water supply. It will
Never.
always remain a public water supply.
Yeah.
Or sorry,
Right.
a public water, a private
Yeah.
public water supply.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
assume the all homeowners within the subdivision would take ownership of it in some way.
What it does mean is they have like legal ground to make any modifications to the water supply that would be necessary for acceptance, right?
Right.
Okay.
And they would have to have the financial resources, and there would have to be a rock solid agreement for indemnification in order to.
I
But
get the
as Pam
indemnity
said
thing,
after
how
that
do you
meeting-
do how do you do like the easement language for their water supply?
I'm
Is it
sorry,
up-
go ahead.
I get the indemnity part of it, but how do you do the easement language for the public water supply under the road?
To be determined.
That
Obviously,
was
there
all,
will have to
yeah, I
be
mean,
easements.
yeah, that was always known that easement, they would basically have to pay to have easements drawn up and they would have retain access to those under when the town owns the road.
Right.
You're right, but usually the easement's like limited to a section or a spot. In this case, you'd have to be like the whole road wide because you don't know exactly where it is.
So we
And
still
the
don't
real
know
pro-
where they did as-built plans, right? We still don't know where the water system
No.
The
is?
as-built plans didn't include the water line, so there is no as-built plans for the water lines, only the pump stations.
But that's all was discussed in the indemnity thing. You think, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, we pointed out that they don't know exactly where it is. And they got into a discussion of, well, the only way to do that is to determine if it's taped or use ground penetrating radar, or in the ultimate end, dig it up and take a look at various sections. And they said, well, that's 100K. We're not going to do that. My view is it's probably more than that.
That
But
was the
again,
niche estimate. That was what the niche estimate, like, it was so expensive because it included line item costs for digging up and marking the pipes. That's why it was so expensive.
yeah. So, that's expensive, but then again, Mike Lau, to your point, if you have to have easements that are very, very broad and have language in them that if it's not really there, then they're still liable. Gets very, very complicated.
Yeah.
And it may end up being more straightforward to go dig them up, or at least determine, and I think it's a real stretch, that they taped it. Or again, I don't know what it costs now. I haven't been in the business for 12 years, but to do GPR in the areas in which they have designated in the design plans that there are underground piping utility. But again, that's something that, as I said, this is the very, very beginning of a conversation, but at least it's a conversation.
Good.
So that's about all I have to report. Pam, you got any more on that?
No.
They were still, I don't know, casting aspersions on the estimate, but not being able to respond to it. Okay. Pam, you want to move on with the draft town meeting warrant?
Yes.
And the slideshow, that was great. Thank you. Let's take a look at it.
Sure. Is that big enough, or
Yeah, that's for me.
that's too big? Right, I just did one. We didn't have anything as elaborate as we did last year, so I just did one slide for each article. And wanted to discuss if you had any amendments to it, or
Is there,
who would be presenting them?
I guess one thought I had was, we said that anything that we could do to leverage the master plan, we should. And is there a way that we could do that in this?
Yeah, I'll look and see if I can pull some sites out. I don't know that there's anything specific, but
Well, I think,
You mean for Article 10 specifically, Bob?
no, anywhere through these.
Oh, I see.
Article 10 basically is we're being more definitive
Yeah.
about what can be used, and To some degree, I think we're supporting economic development in this, by allowing things that, and I think people don't understand that if it's not specifically, defined, then you can't do it.
Well,
And
I guess that is the question. So when I was thinking about how we present this, I mean, are we allowing new uses in here, or are we just saying we're being more specific? Because prior to this, we were interpreting, you know, some things as others, and now we're just trying to be more definitive.
yeah, I think
Bo-
it's more
Both of those things I
yeah.
think are true.
Okay, so we can say and again, I just think about ease of getting things passed with little friction. If we're saying, look, we're not adding a bunch of new stuff to it. We're just clarifying
Yeah,
what was already allowed.
Right. Like the landscaping use in the industrial zone's a good example that wasn't called out or defined anywhere.
but it makes a lot of sense.
That specific example goes back to, I think you were saying in the I forget if it was the last, I watched the last meeting. So I had the flu that last week, and I was like, maybe I'll call in or I'll dial in and just be on mute, but I was just dead for like 6 days. So
You did the right thing.
yeah, no, I was a mess.
We would have loved to have had you, but
But so when I was watching that, I think when you guys were talking about the use table, and you said that, well, the landscaping wouldn't have been allowed if this doesn't go through. So that makes it sound like, well, it's really a new use that we're allowing. So I don't want to, I wouldn't want to say something that's not true. So I guess I'm confused as to, are we allowing new uses in this? And it sounds like yes, at least in that landscaping example.
Yes, some we are.
Okay. I still think
but
nothing is
it's, I mean,
particularly
it goes back
controversial.
to,
So
I'm sorry.
no, sorry, Bob. I was just saying nothing of what we proposed was
And-
controversial. So I'm not super concerned about it.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, you haven't been on the emails we've been on.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I can see how you think that's misleading. I think we created better definitions to categorize stuff. So I can put define,
Better define uses within.
better define uses.
Yeah, I think that's more appropriate. Some of the emails have been quite exciting.
What's been controversial from,
Well, just the old broad brush. Oh, it's Bolton again, and you're prohibiting any kind of economic development, and oh,
Well, our intent is the opposite of that.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
from the very same people who were involved in the Forbish Main Street discussions, here we are trying very hard to develop the economic aspects of Bolton, not just for increasing revenue, but doing a lot of things in terms of supporting amenities in town. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments on land use table? Okay.
This is our driveway amendment.
Now, one of the Mark Case was very concerned about were we to implement this without any kind of waiver, that we would be tearing our little roads to shreds, tearing down trees, and certainly we don't want to do that, and that's why we put in the waiver. And there are a number of things that can be done with that, not the least of which are convex mirrors, which are all over the place in towns like this.
And I still stand by what, we talked about in that one meeting where he came, and it's that at least having the table of what like the recommended guidelines
Yeah.
are, at least give us an understanding of how close or far, we are from meeting them. Because otherwise, I wouldn't know. Is it 50 feet? Is it 300 feet? I don't know. I'm not a
Yeah. Well, I can
So
tell
I think
you,
yeah.
no, I
Sorry, go
think
ahead.
we're fine.
Yeah.
We'll close it with the option that the waiver's available.
Yep.
Maybe I'll emphasize there's no cost to that waiver.
Okay. Just time for permitting. Sorry.
Just a regular meeting, though.
I'm looking
nothing
at it
too-
from the other side of the table for a minute here.
Well, it's important we consider that too. Um,
Okay, so this is straightforward.
Yeah. That's just taking the requirement out for Fosberg for major developments.
Yep.
And then our simple amendment to the inclusionary zoning to put it under your jurisdiction and not the select board. And I was just, maybe I'll add the 40B local preference definition in there, just so people are aware of what it is for.
Okay.
And then the last one was moderator way.
Mhm.
Okay, any other comments on that? And hopefully we've got what we need.
Yeah, looks good.
And I'm looking for volunteers to present it, but I will be delighted to do so. Did I say delighted? No. I
That's-
will, if necessary, do it.
I'm happy to help out
Gonna-
too. Whatever. We'll do whatever.
Okay, but I'll be happy to do it. I mean, you did a great job last time around, Mike.
Thank you.
Can you go back to the first slide for a second? Because
The land use, Jim?
yeah. So I mean, I mean, Bob, can you? Yeah, to Austin's question, I mean, it's like we have, 3 people that have been chairman of this board over the past years, and what's the issue been in terms of like, are we not amenable?
Amenable to,
To what are they is there a complaint about what we're doing here?
Oh, the emails we were referring to?
Yes, yeah,
no,
yeah.
Okay, we received some complaints from a few residents that we should allow landscaping and contractor yards in limited business and industrial zoning districts.
Okay.
And we did discuss this during the meetings when we were reviewing the table. And decided it really wasn't the aesthetic we were looking for, the land use we were looking for in the business and limited business zoning districts due to some of the effects and noise and dust that can
Right,
occur
right.
from those land uses. So it was
Okay.
best suited to be allowed in the industrial zoning district.
Okay.
but I think, that begs the issue that we've kicked the can down the road on, and that is home occupation. And that's something we are going to have to look at more seriously in the next year.
Gotcha.
That, again, it's to Pam's point, it's what is appropriate for the general definition of a particular zone. And if you have a residential zone and you don't have clear limits on what can be done with a home occupation, it can
Mhm.
get completely out of control. You can have one person with one employee, and you can have heavy equipment, and you can have all sorts of stuff on that, and it really wrecks the neighborhood.
Gotcha.
And the argument that was thrown at us was, well, you guys are the new Bolton. In the old Bolton, we could do any of that. Well, not really. You're
I don't think so either.
just doing
That's
it now and it's noticed.
yeah,
No,
that's
no, so
what I'm saying is we have multiple chairmen on, we have some little experience on this board now, and this is, kind of new to me anyway, of people, of citizens, complaining a little bit. So, all right, I just wanted clarification on it. I
well,
get
go
it.
down Hudson Road and look on either side as you head toward Hudson.
Gotcha.
And that's the issue. And that particular aspect of it, the home occupation, came up through primarily the building inspector who said, hey, there's stuff going on out there that doesn't seem to be appropriate, but I don't have specificity in the regulations to, say anything about it. It's just so vague. And
Yeah.
that's how it started. And now that is, here's one area in which we actually can do something pretty much immediately, and that's what we've done. But again, we've got to spend some time thinking through the same picture when it comes to home occupation.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Pam, you want to move on to Forbush Mill? Is everybody taking a look at Pam's report?
That's okay.
I looked at it and it's great. I read it carefully and I thought it was good. I mean, we've
Was it in the package from this week?
It was a link.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it's in the OneDrive.
Anyway, so I mean,
yeah, yeah.
let's
That's
not
okay.
discuss it until we've all read it.
Yeah, it's getting late anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Moving quickly to item 6, the housing production plan. Pam?
I just wanted to give you an update. We're meeting next Tuesday. I've been working with the consultant from MAPC, who I think is doing a great job. We've met with Council on Aging, the library, the Assabet Regional Housing Consortium consultant, which is Metro West, and just gathering information on things that they hear residents discussing regarding housing opportunities. We've been gathering some data related to affordable housing and the market rate rentals, and discussing avenues with these people as well to do public outreach to get community input. So just wanted to give you an update. I'll probably put it on here once a month just to let you know where the plan stands.
Good. Thank you. It's good to hear the consultants jumping right into this. And that's an MAPC consultant, right? Who is
Yes.
it? It's an individual?
Gloria Hayao.
Okay.
Has anyone even like asked questions about the cottage overlay since we passed
No.
that?
One person. We honestly haven't met with many people regarding new housing developments at all.
Yeah,
It's
no,
been pretty
it's a
slow
tough
on
time.
that front.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised, but actually one of the members on the HPP is a Bolton resident. He's also developing Mallard Lane, and he expressed interest in looking at the cottage overlay. So
Okay.
But I haven't met with anyone conventionally or otherwise regarding a housing development. So
Okay, moving on to item 7. We've taken care of that. April 22nd, 7 o'clock. The minutes, has everybody reviewed the minutes? I have. Shall we have a vote on that, Pam?
Sure.
Do I hear a
I'm just
motion?
I was
To
not
approve the
present,
minutes of-
so
Go ahead.
I'll let someone else do that.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of February 8th, 2026.
I'm sorry, it's February 11th.
Yep.
I wrote the wrong date on the agenda. That's okay.
Right. But on the minutes, it is the 11th.
Yes, on the minutes it says 11th. Yeah.
Okay, with that correction, do I hear a second?
I will second.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Austin Groner, Michael Lau,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
and James Barr.
Aye.
Minutes passed by a vote of 5-0.
Is there any other business? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Thank you all. See you on the 22nd.
Thanks, everyone. See you on the
Thank you,
22nd.
everybody.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye.